Hi everyone, it's Roger here from What's On at DisneyPlus.com. It's time for a quick Disney Plus news roundup. We're going to be talking about plans that Disney had to try and use the Mandalorian to save the Galactic Starcruiser, ABC potentially showing Disney Plus shows in order to kind of get around the writer's strike, and much more. But before we go any further, make sure you do hit that subscribe button to keep up with the latest Disney Plus news. Let's start off with talking about the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, which is a special themed like hotel experience that has been running in Walt Disney World near Hollywood Studios since last year. It opened up with a big bang, and it's kind of like a 2-day experience where you get to kind of take part in a Star Wars universe. All the hotel rooms have all been like done up, so you think like you're on an actual cruiser in space, and there's interactive elements, and there's kind of like role playing. You get to do it like a mission down into Galaxy's Edge at Hollywood Studios, where you get to take part in some of the attractions like Rise of the Resistance and Smuggler's Run. And it was really expensive. I think it was about $6,000 for the weekend. A lot of people that went to it really enjoyed it. I kind of like the idea of it, but could never really justify the cost because my wife would have hated doing it. And I think that's kind of one of the issues of these things is it was either you had to go all in, so maybe if you got together with some buddies or you were all involved in kind of wanting to live this kind of Star Wars life for a few days, there was a market for it. But the market, I think, was a lot smaller than Disney anticipated, because they announced earlier this month that they're actually going to be closing it down in September. We don't yet know if they're going to turn it into like just a Star Wars hotel, or if they're going to bulldoze it, or whatever they're going to do with it. Yeah, it's going to be like a $300 million tax write-off, because that's how kind of Disney are doing everything right now. You know, we've seen it with the removals. You know, they're trying to write off stuff that isn't working, and this one just didn't kind of click. You know, they've been struggling to get people booked in for it. Since they announced that they're going to be closing it, it has actually ended up selling out, because some people that maybe had put off doing it then decided to go do it. I'll be honest, if I probably would be more likely to do it, but you know, for the same price, you could actually go and do a real Disney cruise out in the real world. And having just done one last week, I can definitely say I think I'd rather do that in the Caribbean. But nevertheless, there was apparently, according to some reports, that Disney was actually apparently going to be trying to use maybe a rethemed of the entire Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser into like the Mandalorian, kind of redo it, bring in new storylines, bring in new characters, and kind of give it a bit of a makeover and try and use the Mandalorian to do so. But Disney ultimately decided not to move forward on that plan. It was probably going to cost more than it was going to bring in. There was also ideas of turning it into like a day experience, because the price reason was probably why a lot of people weren't going to do it. So they did sort of think about using the Mandalorian. Obviously already we're seeing Mandalorian and Grogu in the parks. You know, we've seen that already, and having seen the character at both D23 last year on stage and also at Star Wars Celebration last month, where he came out during a parks panel where they actually were talking a lot about this Star Cruiser, which is kind of weird. You know, they were really trying to sell it to us and kind of get us to go, and then like within a few weeks they completely canned it. But yeah, so it's a shame that this whole project just did not seem to hit what Disney wanted to do. I think it was a very niche product, it was a very expensive product, and how many people were actually going to want to do this one did seem a little bit high, especially, you know, because it doesn't even have a swimming pool, because it's not like a normal holiday vacation. It's not like the Marvel hotel that they've got at the Disneyland Paris, but it's just themed to it. There was all this role-playing stuff, and personally, I wouldn't want to do that. If I'm on vacation, I just kind of, you know, to happily watch a little bit of it, but I don't really want to be taking part in being a character. But I know some people like that. But yeah, the plan was to use the Mandalorian. They decided against it and decided to end up closing it down, which I'd probably think is maybe the best idea, but it's a shame I didn't get to do it. But let me know what you think of the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser closing down, and would you have liked to have done it with the Mandalorian theme? Let us know in the comments below. Moving on from there, let's now talk about the writer's strike, because it is causing a whole host of problems for the studios, including Disney. We've seen shows shutting down, we've seen shows being sort of impacted by the strike. So this year they said at the upfronts that they've kind of pretty much been coming up with like a strike-proof schedule for the upcoming winter season, and a lot of it is kind of unscripted, things like The Bachelor, because there's going to have no like drama series like Grey's Anatomy or The Good Doctor or anything like that. But apparently there is going to be a plan that, should they need to, they might end up putting some of the Disney Plus originals onto ABC to kind of fill the void, maybe This might be some like Marvel shows. You know, I could see them maybe doing like The Falcon and the Winter Soldier, or maybe WandaVision, or Star Wars shows like Andor or The Mandalorian could help fill in the gap and just put in some stuff. And why not? Why not use the content they've got, get some more eyes on it, and also keep the channel kind of essentially kind of updated with new stuff while they're still sorting out the writer's strike, because this is going to be something that's probably going to be impacting all the winter. Yeah, it's just a really bad situation around, because ultimately we want writers to get a fair pay. But ultimately as well, as a viewer, you need to be entertained, and so it makes sense for them to try and use this content. Hasn't officially been like go ahead, but they have got this content, I think this plan B in place. And I suspect they can also pull in some content from Hulu as well to kind of do similar kind of things. I think something like Only Murders in the Building or The Bear or something like that would be maybe a good choice to do. But let me know, what do you think of the idea of ABC showing Disney Plus originals? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Disney Plus here in the UK has sent out a new press release this morning, kind of highlighting some of the new originals that are going to be coming to the streaming service this year, kind of confirming a few things that we already knew, but also just, again, confirming some other things that we weren't quite aware of. So we now have confirmation of a number of new titles coming out on Disney Plus this year, obviously including Star Wars Ahsoka, Avatar: The Way of Water, which is coming in a couple of weeks. We're getting Culprits, a brand new British series, the second season of The Bear, a brand new documentary called Brawn, the Impossible Formula One story. We're also going to be getting another new Marvel series, Echo, and the second season of Loki. We'll also be getting the second season of Epic Adventures with Bertie Gregory, which I'm really looking forward to. Had a number of chats with Bertie while I was at a D23 last year, and he's a great guy, so really hoping that more people check out this show. We'll also be getting the fourth season of High School Musical, the series, Flaming Hot, the brand new Full Monty series, a new drama series called The Jewel Thief, along with Lions of Sicily, Manuel Wants to Fight, the third season of Only Murders in the Building, Marvel's Secret Invasion, and also there were some new reality TV series including Secrets and Sisterhood, plus a new documentary series all about Colleen Rooney's fight in the law court called Wagatha Christie. So those are all going to be coming along with other shows like Welcome to Wrexham, and just generally a whole host of new original content. So there's going to be plenty of new content to watch on Disney Plus later this year, all original content. A couple of quick things I wanted to sort of highlight from this stuff. First off, it was kind of interesting that in the press release, where it was kind of given out like Marvel, National Geographic, Pixar and stuff, it just said the word general entertainment. It didn't actually refer to Star. Now, generally here in the UK, there's been a lot less referencing to Star. You know, you don't tend to see so much of it. But I just thought that was something that I just wanted to highlight. It's also very kind of noticeable that this press release has come out just after all of the content has been removed. So kind of like almost like, don't look at what we've taken away. Here's all this new stuff that comes. So just a little bit of kind of idea going, the timing of this press release is kind of rather suspicious. But let's be honest, there's a lot of great content coming, but just wanted to put that out there as why it's probably a good time for them to put this press release out. But nevertheless, let me know what you're looking forward to watching on at Disney Plus, and most of these are going to be on Hulu in the US, and then they'll be on Disney, but we won't go into Project Hulk just yet. Okay, so let's now talk about what's new on Disney Plus today. In Canada, there's a brand new episode of the second season of How I Met Your Father. That new episode is also on Hulu in the United States. Unfortunately for us internationally as well, we're kind of going to have to wait for whenever they do the batch. This is one thing I am really looking forward to when they do finally sort out Hulu in the US. Maybe we start seeing proper releases for all this stuff rather than this hodgepodge of stuff. But that's my own little wish. But let's now jump into the comment of the day. So Diabolical Gaming says, "Hi Roger, so after hearing about the Hulu Disney Plus merger at the possible Disney Plus price increase that will come with that, I figured if we do get a price increase because of the merger, that's not right. Disney Plus subscribers shouldn't have to pay more for the failure of an app." So I kind of think this one's a little bit interesting. So first off, at the minute, Hulu is not a failure. It is actually a financial success, and Disney Plus is a huge success. It has pulled in a huge amount of subscribers, and it was always planned on being profitable by next year. Merging them together is not necessarily a failure. It's just a simple fact of things have changed within the streaming world since they launched. I would imagine that had Comcast not been involved in Hulu right from the word go, we might have seen a different layout for the rollout of Disney Plus. They might have just rebranded it or done something else with it. So I wouldn't necessarily think of it as a failure in that way. And with regards to price increases are going to be happening regardless of no matter what platform you're on. no one wants to pay more, but ultimately we do. You look at every single thing we buy in real life, the price goes up. It's just, it's like death taxes and price rises are kind of something that always happen. And I think what's probably going to happen is when there's a full merger, we will then really see the kind of the price structure be kind of changed at that point. Now, whether or not this changes when they do like the soft integration, where they're still technically separate, you're still going to be able to have Disney Plus cheaper without Hulu, but I think they're going to do what they're doing now of just trying to get you to pay a few bucks more to subscribe, because what that will do is more likely keep you engaged, because you're then watching more within the Disney Plus environment, because you've got all that Hulu content as well in there. So there's kind of fors and against. I think ultimately we're going to see what's happened, maybe like what they've done with Paramount and Showtime, where eventually they will just merge together, and at the minute it's going to be a bit bumpy while they try and get people all merged in. There will be price rises, but the price of Disney Plus will be going up anyway. The price that they launched at a couple of years ago was never sustainable. It was never going to stay at that price. I know we got used to it, but we are going to be looking at paying a lot more for streaming services. And this is across the board. This is not just Disney, Netflix, Amazon. They're all going up. Apple TV, Paramount, they're all putting their prices up because ultimately they need more money. And the prices that they were charging were not sustainable. But also I think this is why we are going to see some more consolidation and people being a bit more picky, because when you're starting to look at maybe 15, 20 bucks a month, how many are you really going to subscribe to? And I think that's definitely something that you need to be aware of with your own viewing habits. I have my own personal favorites that I like watching. Obviously, Disney Plus is one of them. I probably wouldn't have Netflix very often, other than like when The Crown or Strange Things comes along, because they're the shows that I like. But my wife loves watching stuff on Netflix, so she views that much more importantly. So I think everyone's going to have that kind of thing. I am currently a subscriber to Paramount Plus, and in all honesty, I could get rid of that tomorrow because there's hardly anything I ever watch on it. So everyone has these kind of different things, and we're going to see some more consolidation. But those price rises are going to happen regardless. And I know people don't like the idea of it. But the idea that you were going to have one price for Netflix for the rest of our life was never sustainable in the real world. And as the streaming companies start building up, and the linear networks that were funding all of this, because that's the key thing as well. Linear was funding Netflix with cheap content because they were making all their money from the linear. Well, that money is kind of disappearing now. So it's a very tricky situation. But I'd love to know your thoughts on all of this in the comments below. I'd love to hear all of that. Anyway, guys, go check us out over at whatsonatdisneyplus.com. I'll be back tomorrow with another news update. Thank you very much for joining me today, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Laters.